You're breathtaking.
Teens of Reddit, what is a question you have always wanted to ask an adult, but have been nervous to do so? What do you do for fun? Sleep. The answer is sleep. Well, me personally, I play video games a lot, talk to people on Discord and Reddit. When I'm not doing that, I'm pushing my nephew over or I'm at the pub annoying people. When you really like someone, and have heard from reliable sources that they like you too, what do? When my husband first asked me out, he said to me, "I'd like to take you out on a date." I seriously appreciated how direct and clear he was. None of that vague wanna hang out sometime nonsense. Good communication is a sign of maturity. Be direct, it pays off. How do adults make friends, work, hobbies, and relationships that survive the distance of college? Met two of my best friends at the company where I work. Have also met some great people through World of Warcraft, of all things. Sometimes I go out to meet them at BlizzCon, and I still have some of my high school friends, since I didn't move too far from where I grew up. We talk on Facebook and meet up a few times a year to catch up. It'll never be how it was when I was a teenager and could just drop everything to hang out with people after school. Like, my Friday and Saturday nights are pretty open as an adult, but that's just because as an adult there are other things to do. Or you just want to stay in and relax. Adult relationships just take a little more work since you're not forced into close proximity with other people for 8 hours a day like you are in school. Yeah, you have to go to work and be around people for 8 hours, but friends in high school are almost like a survival requirement. Not so much as an adult, so you can pick and choose who you want to be friends with. It really just takes a little bit more effort and initiative. And also you can't take anything to heart as people start getting busier with their adult lives. My friends who have just had kids and are busy with them are still my friends. We just can't do things like spur-of-the-moment lunches anymore. We don't. Our standards that people usually have for attractiveness usually as high as it usually is in school? Not at all. What the frick do you even do in an office job? Do you get assignments like homework? Is it just long and short-term projects? Do you always have deadlines? How do you decide/balance between the trade-off of efficiency and thoroughness? This is what stresses me out most when I do homework, so that's why I'm curious. Thanks for the perspective, smiley face. I'll give an example from my position. I'm a software developer. My role is to come up with ways to build something, a website, a system, that accomplishes a business goal. I get these business goals from a product owner, someone who takes their boss's direction of the company and the wants and needs from our clients and comes up with a common solution for all of these. Their boss usually works directly with the company's CEO, think president, who looks at what we're doing versus their competitors and makes bets about what we can do to stand out from the crowd. All of this creates our assignments. Our deadlines are how long we tell them it will take to build all of that, or they give us a deadline when they promise this to whoever we're selling to, and we tell them how much of what they want they can get. This is tricky and usually needs to be negotiated and adjusted along the way depending on how big the project is. Lastly, efficiency versus thoroughness is the biggest and hardest part. It's still being studied all over the place. General thought is aim for thoroughness. Make concessions to meet deadlines as long as there is dedicated time to go back and fix those concessions. Hope this helped. Do you ever get over the loss of your parents? A few years after my grandpa died, I asked my dad if he still thinks about him. He responded every day. At the time I thought he was exaggerating. There's so much stuff to do. How could you remember to think about somebody every day? Well, now that my dad is gone, I can tell you. I think about him every day. You don't really get over it. You just come to be less sad about it. I'm grateful I got to spend the time with him. A bit of bubble bursting. To start, closure, in my experience, isn't real. I lost my father when I was 13. He never saw me graduate high school or college. He won't see me get married or meet his grandkids. I've not stopped being sad about that. And I don't suspect I ever will. But there's a lot of sadness in life. It just comes with the territory. I deal with it the way I deal with any other sadness, in proportion. Time alone when I need it. Talking when I need it. Crying when I need it. It'll get better. And you'll learn ways to cope with it. Will you get over it? No, probably not. You get over wrecking a car or an argument with a friend. I'll never have a father again for as long as I live. And I will never stop wishing it was different. But there's still people who need loving and things worth being happy about. And that has to be enough. I'm getting by. You'll get by. If I'm talking to you in a video game and tell you I'm Mexia years old, does it make you feel awkward? Edit. Thanks for all the good feels. I'm 15, and this gives me a bit of confidence for next time I'm in a room and people start number dropping. It puts a sensor on for me if the conversation goes south. No, it mostly makes me feel old. I do find it a little weird when I'm obviously way older and you ask, we're playing a game, be a good teammate, and I'm happy. Are you happy with being an adult? At 29, I don't know if happy is the right word, but I'm much more content with who I am. The bullshit social pressure goes away as you get older, And the things that would seem like the end of the world in my teen years aren't a big deal at all. For example, school definitely isn't anywhere near as stressful as having a career and bills to pay. But you do get to experience the freedom to make your own decisions and mistakes, so I guess that's cool. I do get sentimental over my teen years at times, but that's just a part of life. Enjoy those years while they last, while being somewhat prepared for what's to come. Do you enjoy your job, or do you only work to enjoy the weekends and little joys of life? My job is it and I don't mind going to its status. I wouldn't do it for free, but I am very much content at doing it so that I can live the life I lead. I work to live, always have. I've had jobs before where I was miserable. So although I don't love my current job, it's great by comparison. Is having kids worth it? You're going to get a toss-up of answers. If you want kids, and had kids, then yes. People say, it was hard but worth it. If you didn't want kids and you had them anyway. So obligated parenthood on some level. Most will say yes, but they have nothing to compare it to, and unless they've really hated being parents they will usually say yes. A very small percent of those will admit no. I didn't feel fulfilled but here I am. Then those without kids. Most will reassure you that your life will be fulfilled without children. Ultimately, only you can answer that question. It depends on so many personal factors that I don't think that even a mix of answers would give you an idea of how you would feel. Do what you think is best for you. Consult your partners and see how they feel when you get there. And then, always make the best of your situation. Either way, it will be worth it. Not having kids is worth it. I never wanted them, and now that it is too late to have them, I do not regret a thing. My partner and I travel when we want. Do what we want. Do nothing if we want. We have only the obligations that we place on ourselves, and this freedom is priceless. And speaking of priceless, we also enjoy a financially comfortable life, not having to support a child and all that it entails. How often do you actually use quadratic equations in the real world? You will only use 10% of the stuff you learned in school as an adult, but you have no idea what the 10% will be, and it's different for everyone. Quite often, I have been using pretty much all formulas/equations that I have learned in high school on the daily. But if you're not planning on going to higher education in a STEM area, you don't need it. They don't teach stuff like this at high school, so you remember it for the rest of your life. What they are trying to teach you is how you can teach yourself complex formulas. How do parents figure out something to eat every day for their family? My wife and I sit down every Sunday and map out our dinners for the week. This allows us to avoid last-minute chaos and overspending on takeout. It also allows us to write a grocery list that hits any missing ingredients on our upcoming dinner menu. How do you maintain your inner child? Keep up activities and interests you enjoyed as a kid. Don't fall into the trap of believing you're too old and can only do adult-oriented hobbies. Why are you always so depressed all the time? Edit. I'm a 30-year-old man. However, I wanted to ask this question to see if you guys felt like I do. Not that great a lot of days. However, I think that's more stress than depression for me. Working so hard to make money, then watching that money disappear paying bills. It's exhausting, because the world's problems are so big and I am so small. Did you end up with your dream job? I've had my heart set on the job since I was in middle school, but I'm scared with all the schooling and testing and preparation I have to complete to get my dream job. I won't be able to. In high school and when I started college, I wanted to get into oceanography. Once I was in college, I discovered and fell in love with computers and programming. I had a great career in software for over 20 years, and for many years I thought that was my dream. But eventually I tired of it. I changed careers in 2000 after 8 years of volunteering and studying for my real dream job. I spent the last 19 years working in the rules of golf and ended up in my dream job the last 8 years before I retired a few weeks ago. Be prepared to work hard to get where you want to get, but also be prepared to find that over time your dreams change and you might decide to try something new. If you do, dedicate yourself just as hard to that dream. Edit. Thank you for the gold. My first one. Do women actually shave their pubic hair, or is it just a porn thing? I'm actually surprised at how many here said they don't shave. I thought it was more common. Now I feel weird for shaving. Some people shave, some wax, some trim, and some do nothing at all. It's all personal preference. This applies to all sexes. Most people don't care as long as you keep it clean. Do you ever get past that crippling anxiety of being scared that your life isn't going anywhere or that you're failing? Kinda? You realize that literally everyone has it. Everybody. No one knows what they're doing. Hopefully you just learn to recognize that the anxiety is a part of life, and not to sink into it. I have a meltdown usually once every 3 months, but whilst I'm in tears on my kitchen floor, I can truly laugh about it. I think in my last meltdown I wailed everything's so hard and I don't know what I'm doing to my partner, and then we cackled like absolute mad because preach. Life is weird and absurd, but the wonderful thing is, everyone is in the same boat. Don't let that anxious voice get you down. Edit to add. Just keep on doing small things that make you happy. How's being an adult? I can sit down at the food court with enough lunch for 2 people and quietly demolish it and nobody will care. My parents were fond of saying when you're an adult, you can eat as much ice cream as you want, but while you're living in my house you get this much. And similar things. I think they had assumed that when I was an adult I would make better choices. So it's great because you can make those choices, but it's also sucky because you have to make those choices. No one will do it for you. If you want your life to be good, you have to take the steps to make it so. No one will do it for you, and it's hard work sometimes. Please subscribe if you liked the video. It really helps the channel to grow. See you again.